Hello, my lovelies. So, I'm going to tell you guys about how I got into hypnosis. I'm actually a trainer, so I teach this because I love it so much. So, 9 years ago, my best friend is a psychologist, and she took her hypnotherapy training. And she said that the whole time that she was taking it, she kept thinking of me, that I kept coming up, and I'm like, sounds like witchcraft. And I was like, not really open to it at all. But she tells me that, being a psychologist, she's had clients that she's had for years, and she would have people that she would see for 1 to 3 years. All of a sudden, they're coming for 1 to 3 sessions. And I'm like, what is this? Anyways, still wasn't very open to it. So she comes out to visit me. And she's like, just let me do a session with you. So I'm like, okay, I trust her. So even though, I still kind of thought it was witchcraft, I was like totally open to it. It helped that she was also my Sunday school teacher when I was little. So there was that trust that was there. So we did a session. My very first session was for past lives. Why? Because I didn't believe in them. So this was like a test because I didn't think it was going to work. So we do this session. Not only did it work, but let me tell you, and many people have this, that when it's done, they kind of question everything. Like, did I make that all up? Especially past lives. I would say now we definitely do not make it up because it is so unique to each person. It's crazy how unique it is to each person. But anyway, so I have this session, and it changed my life, but I didn't even quite realize to the extent that it had changed my life. Like, it took a few months for me to put the pieces together. So first of all, during that session, this feeling came up. It was actually terrible because this was kind of a horrible past life, one of them anyways, that came up. But I had this feeling of grief that was moving through my body, and it was terrible. But I have had that feeling in this life when I would talk to my mom on the phone. Now, if you know my mom, which you probably don't, anyways, nicest lady around. You would love her. You would think she's just wonderful. There was no reason for me to have this kind of nervous, weird feeling when I would talk to her only on the phone. Weirdest thing. Anyways, we do this session. It was actually grief from another life, that feeling that came up. So what happened after the session was that feeling didn't come up anymore. Gone. And even in the session, my mom wasn't mentioned, the phone, none of it was mentioned. It was just my subconscious mind seeing this, experiencing it, realizing where it was coming from, that it went away. Another thing happened. I didn't realize this one until quite a long time after. Like, it might have actually been a year after when I put the correlation together, because I had began painting. And it had never been something I was interested in. It had never been something I did. Like, I mean, when I was little, I might paint like a little craft, like every little kid does, but there was no interest in it. But I started painting after I had this session, but I didn't realize that that was the catalyst until like a year later, when I'm like, when did I even start doing these paintings? And then realized it was right after that session. So some type of creative block had been released in this session. I was not even aware of it, but I'm now seeing the results of it a year later, which, I mean, the results were immediate. I just didn't correlate the two things together. So once I saw this and realized just how amazing and powerful it was, I went and I took my hypnotherapy training and opened up a practice and have been doing it ever since. So the best part about what I do is seeing people, because I love working with people that are depressed or anxious, or people that need to lose weight. I love working with a huge variety of things. I really love working with kids too, for whatever, just because I like kids. But I really like working with people that are depression anxious because the results to me, as well as weight loss, are visible. You can see them. They will come in, and I pick up on energies huge time. So I'm feeling it. I know how they're feeling. I can see it. And I can also see and hear the way that they talk to themselves and how so many of them think like, well, I'm going to be the one that you're not going to be able to help. You know, they go into it with, you know, I don't think that this is going to work. The amount of people that come to me that think that it's not going to work, and I'm like, excellent, have a seat in my chair right here and we'll just see how this all pans out, because I know that I can help them. So they'll come, they'll, you know, look like they're not feeling great, and then they'll come back and then they'll be like, well, you know, it's a little better, but I don't know if it's ever all gonna go away. And I'm like, oh, you don't think it's all gonna go away? Well, we'll just have a seat in my chair here again today and let's just see what happens. And by the time that they are coming in, so this is after their second session, by the time that they're coming in for their third session, they come in, they're smiling, they feel and look totally different. This is what I love. This is the best, because I can see the results of it, and it doesn't just stop there. Some people I take probably a few weeks to process whatever's going on. So like my friends who originally did it for me, she would do sessions for me and I wouldn't even see the results of it for like 3 weeks, which is not normal, not typical. Most people, it is faster than that, but it would take a while. And so I know even after we're done their third session and like we have cleaned house, and those things, you know, because I go off of a scale here. So if you're telling me on a scale 1 to 10 that you're, you know, depressed all the way up at an 8, we're not going to finish your session, any of your sessions, until it's at a 0. And then we're going to come back the next time, and then we're going to do it again. And then you're going to come back the next time, and then we're going to do it again. And it's all of this reinforcing and going in so deep to these places that you've never gone before. That's the coolest part about it. Now, I would say this is a benefit. Is that I'm not really going to remember your session, because and not all hypnotists do this. Just depends on the person and what they feel comfortable with. But when I'm putting you into state, at the start, when I'm talking you down, when I'm telling you, you know, you are nice and relaxed and you feel this, I'm doing the same thing for myself. So I'm putting myself into state. Why? Because when we're in our subconscious mind, we are perceptive. We have extra things that come to us. So when I put myself in that same state, I'm going to know what you need. And because you're going to be in that same state, it's going to be so much easier to just, this pops in my head, we need to do this now. This pops in my head, because every session is going to be completely different. Like what I do for your friend is not going to be the same thing that you get. It'll be similar, very similar. But of course you have a completely different story, a completely different situation. And so it's going to be completely different. So as we go in and we're doing this work, I'm in the same state. So then when I snap you out of your session there, immediately, I might remember little bits and pieces of it, but pretty much it's gone for me. You will probably remember most of it. I give you the suggestion that you're going to remember whatever it is that you want to remember from it. So you should remember. It would be very rare for someone not to remember their session, although that has happened. Only one time that I can think of specifically out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sessions, that they, you know, came to and were like, well, how did it go? And I'm like, well, you tell me. And they were like, I don't remember anything. I don't know. And I'm like, interesting. I'd never experienced that before. So that's rare for you to not remember. But for me to not remember, not rare at all. So you can tell me anything that you want to tell me, and any of the stuff, it's gonna be gone. I keep notes so that next time that you come back, I can look back and be like, oh, okay, no, we've done this. I keep notes so that I know how to work with you because I'm not going to remember the stuff either. So I know sometimes people, it's a concern, especially if it's anxiety of, I don't want to come in here and dump all my stuff on you. You're not. You're not. I mean, you can tell me anything and it's not putting it on me, because you are going to leave and feel better. And it's not leaving your stuff with me. It's not putting anything on me. I know that is, I've heard it because I've had clients tell me that they're concerned about dumping all their stuff on me. Doesn't happen to me. That happens to therapists, to counselors. When you sit there and you're just talking and you're telling them that, if there's nothing that they can do to like get to the root, like let's say that you are depressed and you're like, well, I don't know why. Well, you know what? They don't know why either. And they're going to give you some kind of techniques and some kind of something that you can use anytime that you're feeling this way, so you can, whatever, feel better. I'm not going to do that. You are going to tell me what your problem is, and then we are going to do all subconscious work. We're going to go in, we're going to take that feeling that you have, we're going to follow it back, and we're going to get to the root of it. Now, why can't other people, therapists, counselors, do this? Because they're not doing subconscious work. They are doing conscious work. And almost our entire life, I actually believe our entire life, although they say it's only 96%, I don't believe that that's true. I think it's 100%, is subconscious. So the way to fix your problems is in a subconscious state. And now hypnosis is so widely misunderstood purely because of stage hypnosis, and they are doing good work too, right? You go to a show, they make you laugh. It is like therapy, because you leave and you feel great and you're like, oh, this hilarious thing happened, and it's a great thing that they're doing. However, it leaves people with the impression that they have power over those people, that they have, that these people on stage don't have control of their own mind. And it's not true. The people on stage would not do or say anything that they morally don't agree with. Just like in a session, if I told you, you now feel this way, you can disagree with me. If you're like, no, I don't, then you can disagree with me exactly like the people on stage could do. It is actually a state of heightened control that you have when you're in that subconscious state. So you're in that state in that couple minutes before you fall asleep at night. When you were falling asleep and you get those good ideas and you're like, oh, I should write that down. That is the genius state. And that is the state that we use in my office. So just like when you're falling asleep at night, you're aware that you're in your bed, that you're falling asleep, you're aware of what's going on. You're just out of the conscious mind and you're into the subconscious mind. You're also in this state when you're driving down the road. It's called highway hypnosis. When you're like driving and all of a sudden you arrive wherever you got and you're like, oh man, I don't even remember passing this place or that place. You have slipped into what is called highway hypnosis, which is the theta state. So your brain waves are just cycling a little bit slower than usual. It is a completely natural state. Now, while you were driving, you were probably daydreaming, maybe coming up with genius ideas. It's a really good place to do that. So anytime that you're in this state, it's a heightened awareness. So when you're in that state, in my office, you're aware, you're in control. It is different for every single person though. If someone was to come for a session and then leave my office and then try to explain it, how it felt, it's a very difficult thing to explain because it's unlike anything that you've ever experienced before. Because it just is. Unless you've done hypnosis or comfort hypnotherapy, you don't know what it's like until you experience it. But one thing that I can tell you is that it changed my life, and so that's why I do it. And it changes my clients' lives. If you've had something, so I used to be really resentful towards my dad, and I think a lot of people have this, that they maybe have anger towards their parents for not, being better, or for abusing them, or for whatever it is, any of those things. I have healed essentially everything in my life by using this subconscious healing. So it is a powerful, powerful tool that you can use. And now, daily, I would use it. I would wake up, because I do this for people, so I know how to do it. I can do it for myself too. It was kind of tricky when I very first started doing it on myself to figure that out. You know, you got to be in third person. I would talk to myself like I was talking to my clients, like, okay, and now how do you feel about that? And then I would answer back, and I would, and it's not like that anymore. Now, like I've told you guys, like I've shown you in some videos, it's about feeling that feeling that you have, following it back to where it comes from, and then there's different techniques. There's different things you can do. You can use, color to drain it out. There's just a million different ways once you're in the subconscious mind, because it works in pictures and images. And if you're not a pictures and images person, it can also work through feeling. It can work through hearing. It's everybody's a little bit different. But we use this state to heal everything. So it can work for you. If you think that there is nothing has ever worked for you, and you have this issue or this thing or this circumstance or this trauma that has happened in the past, and it keeps coming up, and then it makes you feel a certain way when you think about it, we can heal this. We can heal it. And we can do it fast, efficiently, effectively. And because when I took my training, the person who did my training for me taught me a really hard lesson in a bad way, but it turns out it was a good thing. They put me into state, and then they pulled me out when I was kind of in the middle of something traumatic, because we ran out of time. This is during my training though. And so I left, and I had never felt like this horrible feeling that I was feeling. She brought it up, and then it stuck with me, and it was terrible. And that good thing I was staying with my best friend at the time, the psychologist, who could hypnotize me, so she fixed it that night. But because that happened to me, I don't do that to people ever. We solve it before we're done. If that takes 3 hours, that takes 3 hours. And I'm not going to charge anybody anymore. I could charge hourly, but I don't, because every person is totally different. So, if people are coming for a session, they need to be prepared that it could take several hours, because I'm not going to pull you out when you're in the middle of something. It's going to be resolved, completed, done before you're done your session. So we're not going to go in, do half the work, and be like, okay, we're going to come back and finish this next time. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go in, we're going to solve the work. Then you're going to come back, and we're going to say, okay, what came up over this week? How are you feeling now? And then we're going to do it again. And then you're going to come back, and then we're going to do it again. Now, sometimes my clients, because I love my clients, how could I not? They will come to me for various things. So somebody might come to me for anxiety. Okay, well, we're going to resolve that in a couple sessions, but then they're going to come back to me, and they're going to be like, okay, well, I want to work on this thing now, because they know it's such a quick fix. I know for myself, oh, that is delicious tea. That is so delicious. It's like blackberry and raspberry or something like that. I know for myself that if I need help with something, I have gone to a few counselors, therapists, whoever they were over the years. It didn't help me. I went to and did that EMDR. It resolved one issue, one very specific issue, and I was there for an hour and a half. That is not how it works when you come to me. So I thought, after going to that, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And so I just use my hypnotist friends to help me if I have some issue, because I know that they're going to be able to help me in one session. Then I'm going to go, I feel like this, I want to not feel like this, I have this block, I have this issue, I have this, gone, fixed. And it is so underutilized. It's ridiculous. If you're in Canada, sometimes your insurance will cover sessions with me. So far in the States, they don't. not that I have come across, and it is a crying shame because you will spend thousands of dollars a year going to a counselor or a therapist or this or that when you could come to a hypnotist and do a couple of sessions, get deeper, lasting, better results, and it's going to cost you less. Initially, it might seem like, ooh, you know, that's more a heftier price that you've got to pay, but you've got to realize you're only going to come a couple of times. And your problem's going to be gone. Not your problem. I can't solve your problem if you're currently going through something, but we can make you feel better. We can help you to solve any past trauma that you have going on, and to shift your mindset and to see the world differently. And it's just such a beneficial thing. So anyways, what we were really talking about was how I got into this. But I just can't help talking about it because I just love it so much. Anyways, so I got into this because of my friends. Did it for a few years and then thought, no, I want to take my hypnosis training to train people's, because I didn't like the training that I took. I thought that it wasn't enough, and I wanted to make training that when people left, they felt like they could do what I could do. And so that's the training that I want to offer to people, because I don't want something bare basic where you leave and then you gotta, you know, do all the research and figure out all the stuff on your own like I kind of had to do. I wanted something where people were leaving and they really, truly then knew what they were doing at the end of it. So I went and I got my training, and basically the past few years, I just like working one-on-one with clients. I just love working with you guys. I love all of my clients. We get to know each other really, really quickly. And one thing I just want to say, you know, people come to me and almost everybody tells me that they're nervous if they've never done it before. Like, and I know this already because they, you know, come and I can feel it. And I might even ask, if I can feel it. But after the first 5 minutes of them being in there, the nerves melt away and everything just changes. And the next thing you know, you hear that and you open your eyes and you're like, wow, I don't even know what just happened, but I feel really good right now. And people will tell me physically after that they feel different. Many people will mention this, like, oh, my jaw feels loose. Oh, I feel like I can breathe deeper. I feel lighter. I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. My shoulders aren't tight anymore. My body just feels different, because we store all of our emotions, all of our things inside of our body. And when we take it out, it's out. And then you feel different. And it's a wonderful thing. So anyways, my video today was about me and how I got started. Of course, I've gone off on a tangent as per usual, but that's why you guys love me so much. So anyways, if you're still watching this, thanks for still being here. I love you guys. If you want free content and you have not checked out the Mental Cleanse series yet, you can go. That would be like if I was doing a group, it would be like that. So this is hypnosis. So this is subconscious healing. So you cannot fall asleep. It might even be better if you do it while you're sitting up and just listening to it, because I'm going to ask you to do things, and you need to be an active participant in it. Also, you could go to my website and you could check out the online assessment there if you want to see what areas that you want to work on. So it's just a big assessment, and it can, you know, show you where you're at with how you're feeling. And what we want is for everything to just be beautiful, so that you wake up and you are living in heaven, and that you're just feeling like $1,000,000, because that's what we want. So you can go and check out that assessment. It's totally free. It's on my website. It's probably close to the top on one of the first pages. It'll just say assessment something or other, emotional assessment, maybe something like that. And there's tons of videos on there that you can check out on my website as well. That'll give you kind of more information and lots of testimonials from clients that I've had over the years. I have several different pages with several different testimonials on them. And so you could read the page that says testimonials, but you could also go to, there's a weight loss group on there, and then you could read those testimonials on there. I've got a sports website. You could go and look on that one. And there's sports ones on there. There's just a bunch, and they're all different. And I've got ones on my Instagram too. Anyways, if you guys are still listening to me, I'm amazed. I can't even believe you're still here. I love you so much. Thank you for your love and support, and I will see you guys in the next video.